The drive that took us from Chiang Mai to Sukhothai, the ancient city with beautiful ruins, then led on to our final destination, which was Udonthani in northeastern Thailand, not far from the Lao border. Udonthani, or Udon as it's known, isn't the usual tourist destination, though it has a fair number of expats living there. It's a charming, laid-back city with some interesting attractions, even so. Although there's been settlement there for a long time, the city really only began to get established in the late 19th century as a defensive position when there were fears that the French might encroach into northern Thailand as part of their Indochina expansion. There's an interesting museum close to the city centre, housed in a stunningly beautiful Italian-style building. I've been 2 or 3 times and hardly anyone was there, which is a shame really, because it's very informative and very well laid out. It's a historic building, and it was once the royal residence of Queen Rampai Pani of King Rama VII. Udon developed as a military airbase at the start of World War II and grew as a base during the Vietnam War when it became a US centre. So Udon's development centred very much on catering for the GIs right up until the mid-1970s, when the US Army withdrew and Udon had to find new ways of managing economically. Udon is now an important regional hub, having recovered from the slump of the mid-70s. With the influx of Vietnamese immigrants and the Americans, it's also quite multicultural, and inevitably there's a significant Chinese presence too. So, as you'd expect, Udon has got some lovely restaurants serving all kinds of food. Our favourite place, though, is the Chef's Table, which serves Thai, European and fusion dishes. And there are plenty of open-air places serving Isan food, which is the local regional cuisine. There are 2 or 3 lakes close to the inner city, but the most attractive and busiest is in Nong Prajak Park. It's a lovely place for walking, or running, or doing Tai Chi, or cycling. It's got a small island with bridges at each end, so you can walk all the way through if you want a quick route to the far side. Or it's a very nice, if quite long walk all the way around. And bizarrely, it's got some giant yellow rubber ducks, and I never found out their significance. There's also some pedalos to hire. In the evening, there are food stalls all along one side of the lake, and musicians, and of course the joggers. It's buzzing in the evening and very peaceful during the daytime. Opposite the ducks is a row of massage shops and cafes, and my favourite coffee place called Starducks. It's just a stall with 3 or 4 garden tables and chairs, and it's the friendliest service imaginable. And the park has to be one of my favourite places in the city. The Thai Chinese Cultural Centre is situated on the banks of another lake not far from the night markets. The buildings here are stunningly beautiful, and there are ponds with huge numbers of koi carp splashing around, quite noisily as well. Kids love these ponds to the point where I began to wonder why none had fallen in. Nevertheless, the place is very peaceful and majestic, and it's a place to just contemplate and simply sit. A short walk from there is Udi town, which is in the middle of the night markets. Lots of market stall, every kind of eating place imaginable, a couple of nightclubs, and nearby the railway station, which is still in use and is a charming Art Deco building. About 45 kilometres from Udon is the Red Lotus Lake. You hire a boat and out you go into a vast area of lotuses, red and pink, sitting there on the water, and you sail right through them. It's a beautiful experience and it's so peaceful. There were some other boats there, but not too many, at least not when we were there. This freshwater lake is about 8 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide, and it's got a huge variety of fish, birds and plants, including obviously the lotuses. The locals insist that actually they're water lilies. At any rate, it's a very tranquil place. It's quite romantic and has attracted its share of legends, including magical kingdoms, a princess and her 2 suitors, and battles. In fact, it even was the basis for a Thai film some time back. It's hard to believe when you absorb the peacefulness of the place, watching the exotic birds and the vast array of flowers, that it could have been the site of battles. And then just a short drive away is Padong Rai Temple, and it's like no other temple I've ever seen. At the end of a narrow walkway, it appears to float on a small lake. It's been designed to resemble a white lotus, and there's a tremendous sense of space inside it, and it's stunning. "35 kilometers east of Udon is Banchiang. It's an archaeological dig that's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In 1966, a local school teacher and a young American researcher were walking and talking, and the American stumbled, fell to the ground, and in moving the dirt found the remains of some pottery with quite unique designs. It's incredible. The design is not like anything I've seen anywhere else. Further searching found skeleton remains and metalwork, such as bronze bracelets, axe heads, and a range of other artifacts, indicating that the site dated back to the Bronze Age, and so began a major research project that's still going on. There are claims that this little corner of Thailand was the beginnings of civilization. "64 kilometers from Udon is Phuprabart Historical Park. Here there are unusual rock formations that include spires, massive boulders, rocks balancing on other rocks to form a backdrop for the prehistoric art and religious shrines that were created amongst these rock formations. The geological origins are thought to be from undersea erosion that occurred 15 million years ago. The shapes are at times quite eerie, and there's no convincing explanation other than the undersea erosion one. Where there's a deep overhang from the rocks, you can see some prehistoric paintings, though some of these have faded quite badly, but they're reputed to date back about 6,000 years. So it's a really interesting, if slightly eerie, even scary place to visit. So, Udon. What a pleasant, relaxing, charming little city. It's a place to enjoy peace and tranquility. And in less than an hour's drive, there are some wonderful sights to explore, and I've talked about some of those in this video. It's a place I've visited 3 times now. It's where Dio's family live, and it's a place that you can explore at a leisurely pace. So I'm quite sure that I'll be going back there in the future, because I really loved the place. Yeah, I really loved the place.